Welcome back to One Comic Book a Day, where I am still exhausted from Disney World. Will I ever feel normal again? Probably not. Today we are covering the second story in Superman number 13, Superman vs. the Archer, where he faces a guy called the Archer who feels more like a Batman to Green Arrow villain. But hey, I take what I can get with these early Superman stories. At least it's not a mob story. A guy calling himself the Archer is killing rich people with arrows and threatening them. Not exactly sure why, but he's doing it and someone has to stop him. Clark and Lois decide to go look into it. They're immediately attacked by the Archer, and while leaving one place, it turns out the Archer cut the brakes on their car, which doesn't sound like an Archer thing to do, unless he did it with an arrow, which would have been impressive, but no, he didn't. It was just cut. Superman uses his hypnosis, because you know that ability, which is going to stay forever. You know it is. Yeah, that hypnosis ability, everyone knows Superman does too. Hypnotize Lois, and then he saves the car as he uses his powers without her being able to see. Hey, at least it's not the Vulcan nerve pinch that he had. I mean, it's slightly better that he's hypnotizing this defenseless woman, putting her to sleep, but at least it's better than the Vulcan Nick pitch version of it. Look, we take the small victories. While this is going on, Jimmy, who is actually called Jimmy Olsen, yeah, James Olsen, who he was originally referred to as being called Jimmy, he hasn't actually been in the comics a lot. He's appeared maybe 3 or 4 times at this point, is really up in getting his first byline, which Perry has told him he's not going to get for at least 10 years. Wow, Jimmy's going to be in his 30s, unless he's supposed to be a teenager here. God only knows. There's a rumor about another one where Clark and Lois show up and they stop the Archer this time, except it's not actually the Archer, just some guy that's never really explained. He does refer to his name as Robin Hood after they caught him. Can I just complain that the Archer sounds like the name, or one of the names they gave Green Arrow on Arrow in the early years when they were too afraid to call him Green Arrow because Green Arrow is a silly name? You know, for a guy who fights crime with a bow and arrow, this might all seem silly if he's called Green Arrow. DC and what they are afraid to accept in their own universe. But enough about Arrow. I never really enjoyed it, but I watched it for 4 seasons. There's a rumor about him attacking a jewelry store, which Superman shows up and stops him, but the store owner thinks Superman's the one who's trying to rob him. I mean, he's not dressed like an archer. So he's too distracted with that, so the Archer gets away. Lois, who is without Clark, receives a note from somebody, which is addressed to Clark, that they know who the Archer is and gives a location where they're willing to meet. When Clark shows up, Lois tells him about the note, but lies about where she's going. By the way, Clark realizes that she's lying, but not enough to actually follow her and where she's going. He just believes that much and goes to the location. So Lois and Jimmy, who's hiding in the trunk, end up in the middle of the woods where the contact they meet is immediately killed by the Archer. And now they're being hunted in the middle of the woods, somewhere around Metropolis, you know, the mountains, the woods, that weird desert and canyons. Really hitting a lot of different environments here in Metropolis. But don't worry, Superman flies back, now not stupid. Well, he was still pretty stupid for believing Lois, even though he knew she was lying. I don't understand him. And finds the note and is able to get to the location. My favorite thing about this is when he shows up, it's over. There's no him fighting the Archer. He puts his hand on his shoulder and it's over. It's like, yeah, I give up. They unmask him and the Archer turns out to be Quigley. Who's Quigley, you ask? Why, he's a big game hunter who has not been brought up until this very moment. You can't have a mystery and not give us, potential suspects and expect us to be shocked when it's revealed. That's not a mystery. It's almost like early Sherlock Holmes stories, like the first 2 or 3 where, there's no actual build up to the story and we just spend half the story with the mystery and then the other half we just kind of reveal and then give a backstory. It's not a mystery. You have to tell me who Quigley was before we get to that reveal. And Jimmy gets his first byline. Good for Jimmy. Except, this feels like it wants to be a Jimmy-centric story, except it's not, and you kind of have to have Jimmy be central to be a centric Jimmy story. Siegel understands that, right? And yeah, that's it from Superman number 13, second story, Superman versus the Archer, which he never actually really fights the Archer all that much. I mean, he literally just showed up and put his arm on his shoulder. What a weird story. But I kind of enjoy it. Hey, he fights a supervillain. we're not getting enough of that. And we're probably just going to get a mop story next, so I take what I can get. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notification when a new video goes up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Fridays is Bat Friday, where I cover a Batman story in either Detective Comics or the main Batman series. One just called Batman. I don't know why I have to over-explain that. I think you get it, but hey, try to make it clearer by making it more convoluted. And until next time, let us ponder the question, whatever did happen to the Man of Tomorrow? Also, why didn't he follow Lois? He knew she was lying. Okay, have a great day.